And now, your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? It's producer Alex, and this is your Full Gear 2025 post-show deep dive. We're gonna talk a little bit about what happened out there in Newark, New Jersey. Samoa Joe, spoiler alert, is your new AEW World Champion. Chris Statlander kept her grip on the women's title. FTR once again on top of the world, and a prediction that I made out of nowhere. Ricochet just became your first AEW national champion. And the Elite, man, I also made a prediction about this on last week's show. I said how they were threading that line of good versus evil. Where do they go? They're looking back at Kenny every week saying, damn, like, should we help? What should we do? They're somehow back together. We're going to get into that. We're going to go match by match here, give you the finish, the story beats, right? And what's next for everyone involved, because this show here is all about the storytelling and where that story goes. And the story could either be told in the ring in a fight, or it could be told on the mic, or it could be told backstage. Either way, that's what we do here at Wrestling with Freddie. So let's get right into it. I want to talk a little bit about the Eddie Kingston and Hook versus the Work Horsemen. Feel good victory. But oh man, it looks like Hook was standing side by side with Eddie, right? Pure love there. And this is important. This is important because Hook does something heinous later on. A swerve on the audience trust. By the way, not just on Hangman or on Eddie. He literally swerved everyone. The next match that I do want to get on here from the Tailgate Brawl is the CMLL World Trios Championship match, which was Sky Team, Místico, Máscara Dorada, Neon, versus the Don Callis family, Hechicero, Kazuchika Okada, and Konosuke Takeshita. This match here was fun to watch because AEW did the same thing as they did before with the Tailgate Brawl, where the last 5 minutes of the match bled into the main card. WCW back in the day used to do this. We've mentioned it before. It's such a great shot too. The match is going on. They're beating the crap out of each other. The fireworks, the pyro, everything's going off. The crowd is loving it. The crowd is just going ape shit in the stands. By the way, Newark, New Jersey showed out again. Full Gear, 5 years in a row. They continue to prove that they're one of the tentpole events for AEW, man. But yeah, so I love Full Gear. It's become one of my favorite fall pay-per-views alongside Survivor Series. I love Survivor Series as well. So not happy about this because I already started letting you guys down. We have Darby Allin versus Pac. Man, Pac tortured the hell out of Darby Allin. He had those legit burns and from the match that he had with the flaming table. And man, Pac just tortured him. He was giving him burns with his hands, like just rubbing his arms and the blisters. And oh my God, just the meanest heel work. I said this a couple shows back. Pac is one of those guys that I have to remind myself that he was in WWE at one point, because his career in WWE, I don't remember it. I don't remember any of the matches. I don't remember anything he did unless I actually look it up to kind of like see what he did there. But boy, oh boy, was this a good match. Pac always delivers. Darby survives the brutalizer and locks in a scorpion deathlock within the match. Of course, we have Wheeler Yuta running out, Darby chasing him off. And in all of this chaos, Pac grabbed Sting's bat, spiked Darby with it. And that's when I was like, oh, he's not coming back from this. He pins him. Bryce kind of hesitated to count to 3 to see if there was going to be a kick out, because there was a lot of kickouts in this match. And no, that was it. I picked Darby Allin to win this one. So I said before, immediately I set you guys up for disaster here. I let you down. I will say this though. One of the reasons why I love AEW pay-per-views is because of how unpredictable they are. You know, I honestly would have gone with Darby Allin. If you would have given me 100 votes, I think maybe 99 out of 100 votes, I would have gone with Allin. This story arc that he has going on with the Death Riders has not felt off or odd or old, because the Death Riders continue to find ways to torture the hell out of Allin. Allin sometimes comes back and says, you know what? I got ways to make you cry. Ways to torture you myself. And he does. More often than not, Allin finds ways to do some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in professional wrestling in the last decade. He looked like he was overmatched. He tries to fight his way out of it. But, you know, he's a madman. He's a madman. He's going to fight through it. And he's always almost going to win in these types of cases. But unfortunately, we did not see Darby Allin come off with this one. I think that Pac versus Darby rematch will, there's going to be a possibility that will happen. I don't know. Sting has retired, but Sting still makes his presence felt in a way. So you can possibly have a Sting involvement to have Yuta being kept out of the match if there is a big blow-off match coming up later on. You could have a no DQ, something where Darby gets to lean all the way into his violence. We all know he loves this. It's his wheelhouse. And unfortunate for the Death Riders, this is something that they have to deal with if they're going to fight Darby Allin. This next one here, the women's tag four-way timeless love bombs win. That's Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. They faced the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, and Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir's scary, man. She's legit scary. I wouldn't mess with her. She puts you in the mother's milk. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I think you're done for. The winners of this match choose the stipulation for their semi-final match in the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament. Listen, we didn't have a pick for this match. I probably would have not picked, to be completely honest, Toni Storm and Mira Shirakawa to win. I don't know why. I would just, in my head, I did not want to pick them. I would have honestly maybe gone with one of the younger talent. Well, for the world title picture for the women here. This is I know that these are new titles and they have to get established. And I know a lot of the time the old thought is like, well, a semi-veteran, someone who's, been champion in some case could win these and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think that you let the titles grow with a young team. You put, why not take a wild shot here and put it on, I don't know, maybe the Sisters of Sin. I know that Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir will blow off soon. I think Marina is the type of person that's going to be like, well, Megan, you didn't pull your weight, so I'm going to knock you out, right? But the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue are definitely worthy contenders for the tag titles. But again, with this whole thing, you kind of leave the door open, for all of these teams to fight their way back up. And I think at every pay-per-view that AEW has, you sort of have to have the titles being defended. I think that if you want to establish the World Tag Team titles for the women, they have to be defended. I would stay away from trying to defend them every single week, but I think that defending them every month at a pay-per-view would do very well for the titles. Opposite of, a lot of people, including myself, were very upset with the way that the women's titles were being defended in WWE. I would suggest, whether they listen to me, I'm just a producer here, to go ahead and really take these titles seriously and defend them on a monthly basis at the pay-per-views. And AEW loves doing their tournaments, to fight their way up to different titles. Use that, lean into it. If you're not going to defend the titles at every pay-per-view, then you sort of like, you have your somewhat title match, would-be title contenders have a match at the pay-per-views that would lead to, hey, next pay-per-view, they're the ones we're going to go for. Like, you just have to find ways to keep them relevant. Don't just have titles on somebody just to have them. Now we move over to the AEW Men's World Tag Titles. FTR defeated Bandito and Brody King. FTR via Shatter Machine on Bandito. FTR become the record-tying 3-time AEW champs. An absolute war of a match. Bandito kicking out of a spike pile driver and Shatter Machines. Brody King wrecking fools, man. He is something else. I don't know how to put this. Is a big man. A big man. He did a massive dive where Stokely just ate his entire body weight, man. He is a big man. After insane near falls and a spike pile driver on the apron, Bandito still wouldn't go down. He's another one. Bandito to me seems like a workhorse type of wrestler. And I love that for him. I love whether he's in WWE, AEW, AAA, anywhere, CMLL. He is just one of those guys that seem like he's a workhorse. But FTR finally hit one more Shatter Machine, and they kept him down for the 1, 2, 3. This was my sleeper pick. I picked FTR to walk away with the titles. I did mention that it's just better when the babyfaces are chasing the title. FTR is they're nasty on the mic. I think that they just have they're getting into fights with fans. You see every single week, Cash Wheel are just getting into some type of argument with a fan, and the security always having to intervene and get in the way. It was a good, hard-fought match. FTR's back on the top of the division, tag team. They're calling themselves the tag team of our generation, right? They reinforced that. Listen, with Bandito, they got protected in defeat. I think they did. Bandito kicked out of everything. Brody looked like a monster. They lose the belts, but they still feel like they're made men. Like they can still go after the titles again. They don't look weak. They didn't get played in a sense, where they just look like a bum team that, as always in professional wrestling, that there would be dissension and they'll fight each other. That didn't look like it, right? FTR now have the Bang Bang Gang, the Young Bucks once again, a rematch against Bandito. Like, this is the way that they can go. There's a lot of tag teams in the division. The Hurt Syndicate. There's a lot of moving parts here when it comes to the world title, though. The world tag team title division. There's not a shortage of matches, right? So there's a lot going on there. This next match, by the way, another one that I predicted. I put it out there, guys. I hope I made you some money. The Casino Gauntlet match. Ricochet becomes the first AEW National Champion. I mentioned this on the show last week. Ricochet pinning Kevin Knight with the Spirit Gun after, the insane fighting with Cassie, Yuta, Lashley, Benjamin, all of them in the ring. Wow. It was a good match. It was a very, very good match. Cassidy almost wins. Ricochet survives absolutely everything and everyone there. Cassidy has, at the end, has Ricochet set up for the Orange Punch. Yuta stops it. Knight lands the big splash. Ricochet crushes Knight with the Spirit of Gun, like I said before, and gets the pin to become the inaugural champion. As I mentioned before, I did call this. Ricochet would become your national champion, and here we are. who better, to be honest? He's been a workhorse since he joined AEW. When you look at Ricochet's work since he first came into AEW as, Pretty Ricky, as Freddie likes to call him, he's absolutely done everything right. He's done everything right. He has worked his ass off. He's done a character change. He has his own stable, which we'll get to in a little bit later about stables. He has been in matches in and out. He sells well. He's done absolutely everything that he can in his path to AEW National Champion. I believe that he can defend it well. This is a great mid-card title, lower mid-card title to have in people's hands. I think that there's a lot of wrestlers in the mid to low, almost high there that could really shine when it comes to going up and trying to elevate themselves to become AEW National Champion. It's a day one defining win for Ricochet. I do believe that that there's going to be a lot of challengers for Ricochet, and it's cool, man. It's cool. National title is going to become a showcase belt. You can have Ricochet versus Cassidy, Garcia, Bailey, Kevin Knight, Lashley, Benjamin, whoever. It's gonna show that there's depth within that middle part of AEW, where a lot of wrestlers are kind of in limbo right now, trying to see what's next. Well, this is their next move. Next coming up is a no-holds-barred match with Kyle O'Reilly defeating Jon Moxley. What? Kyle O'Reilly via the ankle lock with the chain wrapped around Mox's legs. Mox taps again to Kyle O'Reilly. What a disgusting brawl. There were fork stabbings, chains around necks. This is their wheelhouse. And Freddie, who did not love blood, Freddie was probably salivating at this, because this is the match that he was probably like, yeah, give it to me. Give me the blood. Because anytime Mox is in the ring, something like this was going to happen. Mox tried his bulldog choke and submissions on O'Reilly. O'Reilly keeps surviving it, man. Kyle traps Mox, like I said before, in an ankle lock. What a match. Mox taps out for the second time in 10 days to the same guy. I mean, what a way to elevate Kyle as well, right? Move him up in the ranks. This is really good. This was really, really good. Mox losing this match was not something I expected, but damn it, it worked. It really worked, right? We did not get a chance to predict this one, but seeing O'Reilly come and win this, as I mentioned just now, it's good. Mox's armor has been cracked, by the way. And this is going to set up for something big. It has to, right? Mox pretends to respect Kyle there at the end, does his thing, jump backs in and to attack the injured arm before bailing when Cassidy and Strong show up. This is good. This is good because AEW had a deficiency in storytelling. Though they were telling stories, they were setting a lot of things up. A lot of the stories were being told in the ring. I don't want to say that they didn't have stories. I just want to say that they were the depth of the stories sometimes didn't make sense for a lot of people, specifically to those who don't watch regularly, like I do. But this is creating future storylines and creating so much depth in what they are writing and putting out there now when it comes to storytelling. I love it. I really, really, really love what they're doing. What is it, year 6 of AEW, and now they're tapping into their history. I want you guys to understand, 6 years in, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't think a lot of you were even alive when Raw came on the air, let alone WCW Nitro. That lasted about 5 years. How hard it is to, like, you got to build these stories and tap into them. I'll mention this again. WWE has 50, 60 years on top of everyone else. They have stories that they can tell forever. They do. And a lot of the time they do that. They tap into the past, and they have so much history that sometimes you got to give other companies, TNA, AEW, MLW, you got to give these guys time to build. Now, O'Reilly's broken arm sets up for a valiant return arc when he does come back, and he pretty much has a claim on title shots as well, or at least a big Dynamite main event, right? Mox versus O'Reilly round 3 will be coming, and it's probably going to have huge stakes added onto it, right? The Death Riders versus Cassidy, Strong, O'Reilly, is a trios feud that you can definitely get behind as well. That's one thing, and I'll say this, that's one thing that AEW has is, and I love, and WWE is starting to do it again. I love factions. If you guys were not alive during the Nitro days and Thunder, Raw, early days of SmackDown, boy, the late 90s there was just filled with so many factions. I was such a big faction guy. I was creating factions in WWF Attitude for PlayStation. Every single game that came out, whether it was WCW or WWE, I was creating factions. I love factions. Everything about it. Give me more I want as many factions as you can bring. And I love that WWE sees what AEW did with their factions and, their thing with the Vision and so on. Like, build those factions. I think it's great. It also gives, look what it's done for Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker's a beast, but, you put those two together in a team like the Vision. Boy, everyone just looks and feels like monsters. I love it. Continue doing it. Please, wrestling. Give me more. Next up is the TNT title match. Mark Briscoe defeating Kyle Fletcher. What? Mark Briscoe via Froggy Bow off a huge ladder through a table, then the J Driller onto the pile of weapons, barbed wire, table, tacks, etc. Bam! New TNT champion. Did not see this coming at all. Absolutely insane match. Ladders, chairs, tacks, barbed wire, screwdriver. Both guys again bleeding buckets. Give me blood. The way Fletcher at one point took the screwdriver, put it into the turnbuckle and faced it upward. Holy crap. I almost had to look away on that one. That was crazy. Fletcher stabs Mark, brain busters him on tacks. Mark still kicks out, which was crazy. This is like Briscoe's, like, again, wheelhouse too, man. Like, whoo-wee. Briscoe finally crucifix power bombs Fletcher through the barbed wire table and immediately hits the J Driller. Wow. Now, personally, I chose Fletcher to keep the title. I would have loved for Briscoe to cause all types of havoc within the Don Callis family, but I will take the L on this one since I did choose Kyle to retain and see where they go with this. It was a heartfelt moment for Mark Briscoe. It really was. But Kyle Fletcher is a beast, and this could only elevate him as a challenger. So look out to see where Kyle Fletcher goes from here. This is Mark Briscoe's first AEW singles title. It's an emotional career milestone, and he doesn't have to join the Don Callis family now. Big babyface moment Likely, probably one of the most surprise wins of the night. Second to the one that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. Fletcher loses, but still, man, looks like a complete psycho workhorse. His complaint afterward is that Callis's guys didn't help him, which is going to feed right into the family drama. And most likely, he's going to enter this Continental Classic. I think that he's going to be fighting to appoint himself a champion either way to someone. And, you know, him and Briscoe, this could be a best out of 3. They can go at it again and have Fletcher kind of take the reins all over again. Like, you don't have to have Briscoe going deep, right? With the TNT title. Briscoe will definitely be defending it against all the violent weirdos. There's going to definitely be a Fletcher rematch, as I said before. There's a lot of people out there. Again, the TNT title, one of those higher echelon mid-card titles that they're going to definitely be putting out there and putting the best wrestlers to go for. We have the $1 million trios match. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander defeated Omega and Jurassic Express. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander via BTE trigger on Jack Perry. They win the $1 million. Let me just tell you this, that I did not see the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander winning here at all. I thought that maybe this would continue to be another nail in the coffin for the Young Bucks, but it worked. It worked because the story of the match is Omega's bad ankle and tension between the Bucks and Alexander led to something bigger at the end of the match, right? In a wild finishing stretch, Omega hits a one-wing angel on Alexander on the floor. But in the ring, the Bucks nail a BT trigger on Jack Perry for the win, and they walk away with the $1 million. Callis celebrates with the Bucks on top of the ramp like their family. Then Alexander and the rest of the Callis family jumped Omega, beating him up, trying to mess up his leg even further. This is the gray area I was talking about with the Bucks. This is the gray area I was talking about with the Bucks, right? I said, man, there's times when they just look back and you feel like they want to help, like they want to do something. And here it is. The Bucks struggle with the choice of keeping the $1 million and celebrating, or hell, do I throw this money down, run back, and super kick the hell out of everyone in the ring? They chose to go and super kick the hell out of everybody in the ring. Luchasaurus and Perry offer handshakes, which the Bucks take. The crowd is going crazy. Omega gets up, slaps away the handshake. We don't know what's going to happen. Is Omega pissed at them? Is he not going to take this? Is Omega going to walk away? No. He turns around and gives the Bucks a huge hug. The Elite are united again. The Elite are united again. This goes back to the factions talk. I love this. I really do. Full reunion moment. This is a big emotional payoff. The Elite together are an amazing team. You have them now as baby faces. You have Hangman out there right now struggling, having to fight his way through things. He's not champion. We're going to get into that match. But there's a lot of like come to circle moments here that you can have. I love what they're doing. The Elite versus Don Callis family is an obvious big program, multi-man tags. Maybe another later on down the line, we'll have another blood and guts match, unless they are going to wait to do it again, in the fall, like they did this year. Omega's bad leg gives the reason to slow burn his singles return, while the Bucks carry more of the tag team stuff, right? So again, I love it. I'm here for it. But not last but not least. Woo, yeah. This is one thing about AEW pay-per-views, right? They go long. How can I forget the AEW Women's World Championship match? Chris Statlander defeated Mercedes Moné. Chris Statlander via the Saturday Night Fever from the top after surviving Moné's, arm work and insane offense. she takes the win. She takes the win. I picked Statlander to retain. Is the right thing to do. All these belts don't mean a thing that Monet has unless she picks up the women's AEW title. And that's not my opinion. That is what I believe the storyline is going to be. She can't top it off anymore. Like, she can't win. She can't take the big one. And that has to play psychological games with you, right? I mentioned with World's End being the last pay-per-view, something could happen. She could eventually say, hey, let's do this one more time, or maybe have a 4-way. If you have something like a 4-way or a 3-way, you protect Statlander and everyone else that's in that match and have Monet take it, right? It's the last pay-per-view of the year. They tend to do some crazy stuff at that pay-per-view. What could be next for them, right? A rematch is possible, as I mentioned before. AEW might pivot Monet towards another belt, but I don't think so. I think that Monet is gonna weasel her way into this. She has to continue trying. This has to be the story arc, right? This has to be the story arc. Stat is winning matches. Statlander is showing that she can hold the women's title up high. And Monet as a challenger, this has to be eating her up inside. Has to be. Let's now move to the very last match of the night. AEW World Championship men's match. Samoa Joe defeating Hangman Adam Page. In a steel cage, might I add. Joe via a muscle buster on the AEW World title after Hook's heel turn, by the way. We have a new AEW World Champion. Brutal cage match. Both guys were busted open. Joe targeting Hangman's taped ribs. Hangman using Joe's blood against him. Shibata tried to interfere by climbing the cage. Eddie Kingston comes down to run him off. The ref gets wiped out. Hangman hits the Deadeye and has Joe dead to rights. No referee, though. Hobbs rips the lock off, storms in with the belt. Hangman fights him off. Page hits a buckshot lariat. By the way, still no ref around. Hook runs out, looking like he's there to save the day, to help Page. He wakes the ref, then smiles, grabs the belt, and blasts Hangman in the face. He reveals an Ops Dojo shirt. Joe hits a muscle buster onto the belt and gets the freaking 3. After the celebration, the lights go out. House on Fire video plays. Prince Nana appears. And Swerve Strickland returns. He stares down Joe and the Ops. Then goes in and destroys the Dojo guys. You have Swerve and Hangman standing side by side, glaring up at Joe. Hook, Hobbs, Shibata. Boy, I did not expect this at all. This is what I mean about AEW keeping things fresh the way they do. Incredible victory by Samoa Joe. Swerve coming back early. He looks and feels like a goddamn superstar. I'm sorry, but there's this aura about him, and boy, did his former employer miss out on this. Joe winning puts a big target on him, by the way. And we're about to see what the hell is going to go down, because the world title picture is going to get really, really crazy in 2026. Don't forget, we still have Max coming back. Okay. MJF. We could have new contenders making their way into the title picture sooner than later. Man, you could have Kyle Fletcher go for it. He's shown that he can hold the title and be a superstar on his own. Doesn't mean he has to win, right? But this is crazy. Samoa Joe's back on top as AEW World Champion now, as he's as the head of the full-blown heel army Ops Dojo. It's a controversial booking call, a lot of people were saying online. Some think that ending Page's reign this quick was a mistake, but clearly it sets up Joe as the final boss for Swerve and Hangman, right? It has to. Especially with season 3 of Twisted Metal being greenlit. You know Samoa Joe's going to go off to filming that sooner than later. Hangman Page, man, he got screwed again. He had Joe beat multiple times. This keeps him sympathetic and gives him a reason to team with his former mortal enemy to try to take down Joe. And you know things are going to break down. Things will definitely be breaking down. Hook. Finally, meaningful things happening for Hook, man. Full heel turn, officially Ops Dojo, betraying Eddie earlier in the night. It's going to sting. Stings for everyone seeing Hook just betraying our boy Eddie, man. But the real emotional knife is turning on Hangman at his peak, though. Right? Just like, here you go. Done. Hook in meaningful events. Swerve Strickland, massive return from his meniscus surgery. Straight into the world title picture without even wrestling a damn match. This is the Swerve. This is for me. The Swerve is top tier AEW guy stamp. Like he is it. The world title picture, I said before, it's going to get crazy. Plus, now you can have Hook versus Eddie Kingston, Hook versus Darby, Hook versus anyone, because now he's in the dojo. So there's a lot of people that don't like the dojo, the Ops Dojo. Don't be shocked if this also lands as a big multi-man cage match later on somewhere, because you have all these other people involved. What a show, everyone. What a show. I let you down on some matches, but some of these predictions that I did make were spot on. There's just certain things that you see. And as Jeff would say, I think Alex has the playbook. I think Alex is writing this, which is not true. I'm not doing such a thing. So that was AEW's Full Gear 2025 from top to bottom. Ricochet makes history. Mark Briscoe bleeds for the TNT title. FTR climbs back to the top. The Elite finally hug it out. Chris Statlander plants Mercedes Moné, and Samoa Joe walks out of Newark, New Jersey with the world title thanks to Hook's stab in the back. Only for Swerve Strickland to come marching back into the title picture. Let me know what you thought. Did AEW make the right call putting the belt back on Joe? Or should Hangman have had a longer run? And are you more excited for Swerve versus Joe, or the idea of a Swerve and Page actually teaming up? Like, there's a lot of ways that this can go about. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're following the show through your favorite podcast platform. Drop a 5-star rating. Give us a review. I would like anyone who's listening to this, because this is my last episode as just talking to you guys. I'm going to go back to my producer duties. How did I do for you? How did I do? Let me know, man. Be honest. Be brutal if you have to. I don't care. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I did the do. I can take a little criticism. But we will have Freddie and Jeff coming back. Thank you all for listening. As I mentioned on top of the show, thank you all for the support. Freddie and Jeff appreciate every single listener that listened, downloads, interacts with us on Instagram. We hope you have a very, very happy Thanksgiving from our families to yours. And don't forget, tomorrow on Unsanctioned Thursday on Thanksgiving, if you're listening on Thanksgiving, we will talk WWE Survivor Series. Thank you guys. See you then.